Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for stopping by today. I'm going to be working with the Simon Says Stamp October 2017 card kit, and here I'm giving you a look at what was included in the kit. One of you commented that you enjoyed that I had split up the Halloween card kit into smaller videos, so I decided I'd try splitting the regular card kits into 2 videos with 5 cards each. Please let me know in the comments below if you like this better than all 10 cards in one video. Since this kit only came with 3 pieces of regular cardstock, I went ahead and added an additional gray from Simon Says Stamp, as well as insulation pink from My Favorite Things. So jumping here into card number 1, I'm going to use a Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die. This measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and I'm just cutting out that pretty ombre paper. And then I decided to use the other side of that paper, which has these pretty rose gold shiny polka dots on it. And that strip I cut to 2 by 4 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and pop that up on some foam tape. And then here I've got some just regular white Neenah cardstock, and I'm stamping the sentiment, "Just wanted to say you're amazing," using Lawn Fawn Deep Sea ink. Then I'll use a Spellbinders die. This is from their large label set, and it is the smallest included in that set. I added some score tape to the back of that just to help it stick to the paper that has the shiny surface on it. And I'll add that across that strip. I also went ahead and out of some scrap navy cardstock, I cut out a few of those flowers. Here I'm using multi-matte medium to attach those. And I did go ahead and use one of my stamping blocks after I set this down just to help it dry for a few seconds in between each. On the inside of the card, I'm going to also use the sentiment "Thank you," and I will again stamp that using Lawn Fawn's Deep Sea ink. And that will complete card number 1. For card number 2, I decided I wanted to create my own background. So here I'm trimming out some of that shiny rose gold cardstock that was included, and also this white with pink polka dot. I'm trimming those down to 1/2 inch wide strips. Then here I've got just a regular piece of computer paper that I've trimmed to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I've used some AdTech removable tape on the base of that, and I'm just going to alternate these 2 strips together to create a pretty pattern. And here I'll use the frame from MFT's Blueprints 32 to trim that up. I knew I wanted to pop the frame up along the border, but before I did that, I laid it on top of my card base. And here I'm going to attach that interior rectangle. Then I can peel away the border, and I'll go ahead and place some foam tape behind that. And here I'm using the Darice foam strips that came in a previous card kit. I'll peel off the backing there and then place that around the rectangle. I really loved that pretty pink cardstock that came in the kits. It's shiny, but it's a very dull and soft shine. So I went ahead and I again used my Spellbinders large label dies, and I used the largest size to cut out a label from that soft pink. And then I also cut out from some Neenah cardstock with the next size down in the label. I took an extra strip of that insulation pink, and that measures about 1.25 inches, and I've placed that in between the two labels. There I just measured and trimmed down where I needed to cut that so I could place it inside the frame. And I did do this slightly off center because of the way the pattern of my paper was. I wanted to make sure I had that shiny pink sort of centered in between the two pink stripes. I then took a look at my ink and found that this American Crafts blush pigment ink matched almost perfectly. I'll stamp that slightly off center in the middle of the white rectangle, and that will complete card number 2. Card number 3 is fairly simple. Here I'm working with that blue pinstripe paper. I just trimmed that down, and I'm going to attach it to my gray card base using my ATG gun. I've trimmed off the excess, and here I'm going to stamp the sentiment "Happy Birthday." I'm going to add a little bit of powder from my EK Success tool, and then I'll stamp that using Versamark ink. Then I'm going to use this really pretty embossing powder that was included in the kit. This blue is beautiful, and I know the camera doesn't pick it up, but it's got a really pretty sheen to it. Here I trimmed off 1/4 inch from one of the other papers, just a cream with a pretty rose gold accent to it. I've attached 1/8 inch score tape. I'm going to peel off the backing, and I'll place that right along the top of that navy pinstripe. I'll trim off the excess then, and that will complete card number 3. For card number 4, I'm again going back to that Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die. This measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and I'm just trimming out a panel from one of the pretty papers included in the kit. I'm going to stamp the sentiment, "You're going to rock this," using some Versamark ink. I went ahead and hit that with my powder tool first. Then here I'm using Lawn Fawn's rose gold embossing powder. I'm going to heat set that, and then I'll go ahead and pop my panel up on some foam tape. I'll place that on the card base. And then I had gone ahead and cut out a few hearts from that insulation pink. And these hearts came in the MFT Blueprints 32 set. So I'm just going to attach that heart above the sentiment with a glue dot. And that will complete card number 4. For card number 5, I'm again trimming out one of the papers using my Lawn Fawn Stitched Rectangle die. This measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I'm going to again use some embossing powder on this, so I'm going to hit that with my powder tool, and then I'll stamp the sentiment "Just wanted to say you're amazing" using some Versamark ink. I'm going to use that Lawn Fawn rose gold embossing powder. I've heat set that here. Then I'm trimming out just a few strips of some of the additional pattern papers. 2 of them measure a 1/2 inch wide, and then the smallest one is 1/4 inch wide. I'm going to add some banner edges to the bottom of those. I've laid those out on my card base, and I'm just going to attach them together. And I had planned on using that polka dot pattern, but when I flipped it over and saw the pinstripe, I thought that actually looked better. So I decided to go with that side of it. Then here I'm going to attach that whole thing together on top of the panel. I'll trim off the excess and pop that up with some foam tape. I'll attach that to one of the gray card bases. And that completes card number 5. Here is a quick look back at the cards we created today. Additional close-ups as well as a full list of supplies can be found at my blog post listed in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.